Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time
MMA.
And it looks like we have another Captain Save-A-Ho in the UFC's heavyweight division that can't wait to put their hands on Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy has been a controversial topic as of late, actually for a while now, even when he was back in the NFL. For one, because of his checkered past, and for two, now because he's coming to the UFC. Now, in my mind, this is the perfect place for Greg Hardy. Leave the domestic violence and all that shit aside just for 1 second, because no matter how you feel about domestic violence, this is the perfect place for Greg Hardy. Usually when you have a woman beater, you know the rap, oh, you're weak, you would never do that to a man, bada boom, bada bang, and you know how that goes. So now, and on the other foot, if you want to see him try and fight a man, a legit trained killer, which is going to be bad news for Greg Hardy, I'm telling you right now, not just because the Captain Save-A-Hos, and that's a joke a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all of these girls are hoes. I'm just saying, you know, whenever you're coming and getting in somebody else's business and trying to save his girlfriend from their situation, you're a Captain Save-A-Ho. I'm sorry, that's just facts. And not necessarily saying it's 100% wrong to be a Captain Save-A-Ho all the time. I'm just saying, where I was raised, you mind your own business, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen a lot of bullshit in my life, you know what I'm saying? And I'll just be candid with you guys because I feel like I have to on this video when I'm talking about Captain Save-A-Hos and shit. Like, my mom went through getting beat multiple times. I was, you know Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis, why the reason he is a Captain Save-A-Ho today, and I'm being, I'm joking when I say that. This is a comedy/MMA channel, so I know there's going to be a lot of people getting their panties in a bunch every time they hear the word Captain Save-A-Ho. Do your thug thizzle, bro. Leave a thumbs down if you want to. We're trying to have a grown-up talk here. But with that being said, Derek Lewis is a guy, he grew up and saw his mother and his stepfather fighting a lot. And he said, every time I saw my stepfather hitting my mom, I used to want to be able to protect her. And I completely understand that because I literally went through similar, if not worse. And I don't like playing that game, comparing childhoods. I'm not going to do that. I can list all the bullshit, but we've all got our problems. But with that being said, I have saw my mother in domestic violence situations a lot of the times. And I completely understand wanting to protect your mother as a child. And I 100% get that. And now, on the other side of the coin, I also understand domestic violence situations to the point to where I know men aren't 100% the enemy every time. And yeah, there's no law that says you can hit crazy bitches. But what I'm saying is, I think people deserve a second chance, especially when you don't know the details. If you knew the details, if Greg Hardy's wife was just at home, just got off of work, and if she doesn't work, maybe she just got done cooking, or maybe she just got home from shopping, whatever the fuck she was doing. If she was just at home, watching Dancing with the Stars, and Greg Hardy got home from football practice and went upside her head, fuck that guy. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that guy if that's what happened, but I don't think that's what happened. Now, maybe he was at work all day, fucking hot sun, you got your boss over your fucking neck all day, you get off work, your fucking girlfriend's not home, she's not answering her phone, she shows up with a fucking, she gets dropped off by a car you've never saw, she comes in the house smelling like liquor, gives you a kiss, and says, yo, oh, my bad, I just sucked Tony Romo's dick. Oh, I didn't brush my teeth. Like, I'm just saying, you don't know the fucking details, and even then, yeah, you don't have to fucking tee off on her, but then, what if after she sucked your best friend's dick and kissed you, then she threw a fucking glass above your head, and then she started fucking swinging knives at you? Crazy shit happens in this world. Girls bring out knives, they do conniving shit. Yeah, that doesn't mean it's okay to ever put your hands on them. I get it. There's people that say, no matter what a female does, if she has a vagina, you can't touch her. I get the people out there that feel that way. But in 2018, I just don't know if that's realistic. So all I'm saying in all of that is, if you don't have the details, how can you judge somebody as the evilest person on the world? Especially when you know there's people that have done worse things. Like getting in a, yeah, if you're just out here a serial abuser just finding women to beat up, that's one thing. But a domestic incident is, for one, nobody else's business unless you guys make it someone else's business. Like if she calls the cops, that's when it becomes someone else's business because the law is involved. But I'm talking about us as fans from the outside that have never met Greg Hardy, never met his wife, don't know anything about the situation, just to hear about his checkered past and say, oh, he's a woman beater, he doesn't respect women. If you don't know the details, I think that's a little out of line. So that's why I step back in these situations. I'm never too quick to judge, you know, and I know there are people that do that. But with that being said, Curtis Blaydes, it sounds like is another guy that's being a little quick to judge. And I have to say this, I'm a big fan of Curtis Blaydes. I'm more of a fan of Curtis Blaydes than I am Greg Hardy, because I'm not a huge football guy. I used to be a hardcore football fan, but I haven't in a while. And you know what I'm saying? I'm team MMA all fucking day, and I'm a fan of Curtis Blaydes as well. Greg Hardy aside, I'm gravitating toward Curtis Blaydes because that's just, he's like the underdog, right? For one, he's coming up. He's not the best trash talker and stuff like that. He's not the most flashy guy out there, but he's got serious skills, so he might go underrated, but he's 100% on my radar. And with what Curtis Blaydes has done in his last 2 fights, it's hard to deny him no matter who you are. He took Mark Hunt down 10 times en route to a unanimous decision victory, and then he cut open Alistair Overeem's head in the 3rd round with his motherfucking Curtis Razor Blaydes. So Curtis Blaydes, I'm a huge fan of the stuff he's been able to do in the sport today. But when I hear him talking about Greg Hardy and immediately casting him off as someone that doesn't respect women, I'm like, pump the brakes. You know what I'm saying? Here we go with the Captain Save-A-Ho stuff. And like I said, that's a joke, but that's literally what's going on here, I feel like. And that's in any situation where a fighter, where someone that doesn't know the details comes out and calls Greg Hardy a woman beater and says he doesn't respect women. If you don't know the details, you're just being Captain Save-A-Ho at this point, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, this is what Curtis Blaydes had to say when asked about Greg Hardy's potential opportunity to fight in the UFC. He also talked on Brock Lesnar as well, which we'll touch on. But specifically for Greg Hardy first, this is what he had to say. He says, I feel it's wrong. He shouldn't be allowed to fight. He shouldn't even be allowed in an MMA gym, period. The basis of MMA is respect, and he clearly doesn't have that. What? You know, that's where I start saying, like, what are you talking about? How does he clearly not have that? Because one time in his past, he was charged with domestic violence, and technically he never even went to jail or nothing because the witness didn't show up, and that doesn't mean he's innocent. But you're saying he clearly doesn't have respect? Have you not listened to any of his other interviews? If you listen to Greg Hardy talking in his Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series after the fight, if you listen to his interviews after the domestic violence situation, does he come across as someone that has zero respect? Is he getting on the mic and saying, forget all these guys in the UFC, I'm going to beat him as bad as I beat my ex-wife? Is he saying shit like that I'm missing? Or is he literally a guy that sounds like he's trying to get given a second opportunity, and everywhere he goes, he feels like he's changing himself, but everywhere he fucking goes, people are calling him a woman beater? His peers. He shouldn't even be allowed in the MMA gym. He shouldn't even be allowed to fucking breathe MMA. He's fucking got charged in the past. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? For one, no one's perfect, and for two, the man's, is there no such thing as a second chance? So I kind of, you know what I'm saying, when someone just gets painted one way, would you like if someone painted you one way because of something you did? You know, and I don't want to equate this to racism, but it's close. It's close. I'm sure Curtis Blaydes wouldn't want somebody to say he doesn't have respect for watermelon. You know what I'm saying? Because he's black. Oh, he would fuck a watermelon up. Trust me. Like, what? Greg Hardy. Oh, he doesn't have respect for women because, yeah, you know, because he's got charged one time in his past. So clearly that means he'll beat every woman he comes in contact with. No, motherfuckers change. I'm sorry. That's just where I'm coming from. But he said clearly he doesn't have it, especially not for women. After what he did to his girlfriend or his ex-fiance, you don't even know that this is his girlfriend or his ex-fiance, so clearly you don't know the details. And this isn't just a Curtis Blaydes. This is anybody that's painting Greg Hardy as a fucking serial woman beater for that one instant. Anyone doing that? That's fucked up to me. He says, I don't see how he can even get licensed to fight. I don't see how he can pass the prerequisites to get a license. The same way fucking CM Punk did. What do you? I really don't want to do this because it's kind of like I feel like I'm going toward Curtis Blaydes, and I don't want to do that. I'm a huge fan of Curtis Blaydes. I'm really just angry at everybody that fucking paints Greg Hardy or anybody that's made one mistake as if they're doomed. You make a mistake and you're doomed for the rest of your fucking life. That is so bullshit to me, man. He says, I definitely don't think he should have been given an opportunity to get a contract, let alone actually be one of the ones to receive it. As a fighter, I don't know. It was really fast fight, so I don't know anything about his skill set. I know he probably doesn't have wrestling. I could see him probably be really heavy-handed, probably a really good athlete. Anything other than that is a mystery. And you know what? That's completely fair. Greg Hardy's a guy, he's got knockouts in all 4 of his first fights, 3 amateurs first round knockouts, Dana White's Contender Series first round knockout, 58 seconds. For sure he's heavy-handed, and it's hard to tell where his skills are at. But we do know in school he was likely playing football rather than wrestling. So, you know, there was probably not a time for him to get the wrestling skills that might be necessary to face somebody like a Curtis Blaydes or just an MMA fighter that's been training wrestling. So that could for sure always be a weakness for Greg Hardy and likely will. But this is the heavyweight division. He is very explosive and athletic, and if he touches your chin, you're likely fucking going to sleep. Similar to Francis Ngannou. Is Francis Ngannou a D1 wrestler? No. But guess what he is? A motherfucker that'll uppercut you from Wakanda and almost decapitate you if he catches you. And Greg Hardy could be similar. He's probably not going to be the exact same as Francis Ngannou. It's going to be a little different, actually. His cardio might even actually be a little bit better. Now, that's not a guarantee. He was taking some heavy breaths after his first round knockout in the Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, but that could have been an adrenaline dump on top of a lot of other things, and these guys are heavyweights. So, but with his background in the NFL and stuff like that, and the heavy amount of training it takes, and you know, all of the athleticism and shit like that, I would assume he's gonna have better cardio than like a Francis Ngannou, but you can't be sure. You know what I'm saying? In football, there's offense and defense. You do get to take breaks throughout the game. You're not in on every play. If you get tired, you can probably have the coach pull you out. You are a little more muscular a lot of the times. You know what I'm saying? So the lactic acid, and you know, you can still tire out, you know what I'm saying, as a heavyweight, of course. So that there's still a lot of mystery with Greg Hardy, that's a fact. But we'll get off of that topic for now, and I almost want to leave this video here because I feel like this is actually, I think we might, yeah, I'm not even going to touch too much on this Brock Lesnar situation. I'll just say Curtis Blaydes is sounding off on Brock Lesnar as well. The Greg Hardy situation, I think, is a little more important because all the shit we talked about. But Brock Lesnar, Curtis Blaydes is saying he's a fake fighter. He's irrelevant. I mean, he's got to get past the USADA test. I get everybody wants to talk about Brock Lesnar, but can we let him get through his USADA hurdles before we start talking about, you know, Brock Lesnar, who he's fighting next? I mean, he's coming from the WWE. He failed his last drug test. He's got to pass USADA to come back. Who's he going to fight? I'm probably not going to get the fight, so really, who gives a fuck? If you're not DC, Steve Miocic, or John Jones, and you're a fighter, you probably don't care too much about Brock Lesnar. As a fan, I'm like, hey, let's see Brock Lesnar, big fucking white boy, and he's jacked. Come on over, fucking, let's fight. You know, but if you're someone in the heavyweight division, you're probably trying to be a little more realistic with things. And so, you know, with that being said, we'll talk about Brock Lesnar a little more after he passes his USADA hurdles. But with, all of that being said, for me, I'm done with this video. Let me know what you guys think. This is almost long enough to be a podcast in itself, but hey, it is what it is. That's what we do over here at Full Time MMA, and the grind never stops. So let the Full Time family know what you think in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Make sure you also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to become a full-time MMA blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, or black belt, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/fulltimemma. I'm out.
Bye, Felicia.